Yo, live from the most high mountains of Olympus. This view is astonishing. From the foothills to the floodplains, I'm admonishing. Take this gold chain and polish it. Rock this wedding ring, it's my garnishing. Take the love from my wife, never tarnish it. Puerto Rican showers, yeah, I taking them. More cocoa bean than coffee bean. That's bittersweet to say the least. On the knees while she grabbed the pieces. My peace of mind, got a crack a smile like a chiropractor. Linebacker, line of crack, I'm pookie back. When that 90 snap and twisted plaits. Times is back, kick back and laugh, yeah. Gotta learn to kick back and laugh. Force rhyme brows out the window with this one. Fire between her legs with this one. Champ of mine when you roll with this one. See where I'm headed with this one. 09, take it back with this one. Back of the caddy, hell yeah, I've been some. One-on-one, couldn't crack the threesome. But now these wedding bells replace singles tails. Pedal chasing tail, pedal chasing hell. Better break the spell, another rock to sell. Ain't no time to fail. But now these wedding bells replace singles tails. Pedal chasing tail, pedal chasing hell. Better break the spell, another rock to sell. Ain't no time to fail. So here's a quaalude for you, mama. Take you 2 of these, I bet she'll love me in the morning. Yeah, my niggas feasting on this karma, but we all about our business, so we stayed away from drama. Here's a quaalude for you, mama. Take you 2 of these, I bet she'll love me in the morning. My niggas feasting on this karma, but we all about our business, so we stay away from drama. Yeah. Daddy fat stacks on my 45, setting up the vibe for my sporty Odie. She about to climb Mount Everest. My avarice is her ass and tits. Better pass that. On second thought, I keep my blunt, my miss. No taste, it's just with some Kobe shit. And my mama whip on an expedition for some Lexuses. Yeah, excuse me for my tangent. This for my check, the checkers on the struggle, trying to manage. Fulfilling dreams for corporate banners. 9 to 5 or 10 to 6. I swear this shit is so outlandish. This for my bag ladies with dove sacks. That's too cheap but greedy to ever pass that. This for my backpack niggas on a semester road, studying for a 4.0. Yeah. But now these wedding bells replace singles tails. Pedal chasing tail, pedal chasing hell. Better break the spell, another rock to sell. Yeah. But now these wedding bells replace singles tails. Pedal chasing tail, pedal chasing hell. Better break the spell, another rock to sell. So here's a quaalude for you, mama. Take you 2 of these, I bet she'll love me in the morning. My niggas feasting on this karma, but we all about our business, so we stayed away from drama. Here's a quaalude for you, mama. Take you 2 of these, I bet she'll love me in the morning. My niggas feasting on this karma, but we all about our business, so we stay away from drama, yeah. I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get it, no call it quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all of this. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out.
Welcome back to Down to the Wire. We back for another week. Everybody's back. Derek's back.
I'm back.
You're not
I'm
drinking
ducking the
smoke
smoke.
this week.
I'm guaranteeing a win on Monday night, baby. Let's go.
So we back last week. PMC, Mike Lee, Sebastian Hurley, and Derek Rivera back for Down to the Wire. How's it been? It's been a crazy week.
Yeah, man. That Thursday night game is bringing me nightmares for my fantasy team, but uh, you know, good week so far. It was wild last week. I missed just on the Diggs touchdown and on the over for the Vikings and Chargers game, which I try to tell y'all, Kirk is mid, bro. He gonna fumble it in the end somehow. He gonna ruin it for everybody every time.
Regular season Kirk is I love regular season Kirk.
Top 10 fantasy QB right now.
Oh, he's talking fantasy. He's lit.
Yeah, we was talking fantasy, regular season.
Nah. That's not what we was talking about when y'all was hyping up Kirk, bro. We was talking about being a great quarterback in championships, bro.
Hey, as a Jet fan,
No,
I
he's
was
definitely not.
Cousins.
Oh, no, yeah, Kirk on the Jets would.
Yeah,
That'll pop off.
we'll get to that later, I guess.
Let's jump into it. We're gonna go into that first segment. What we got here. Let's talk about that Thursday night game. So thoughts, Lee. What's your thoughts on that Thursday night game? Are the Lions for real?
Yeah, I think they pretty much just cemented their status as like the favorite for that division. Obviously, the Bears aren't doing much. The Vikings don't look good either. They're both winless, so it's really between the Packers and the Lions. And just based off that last week, I don't think Jordan Love is ready to be that guy to lead them to a division win. He looks good so far this season. He was really good the first 2 weeks. But then the last 2 weeks, it seems like teams might have got some tape on him, figured him out a little bit. He hasn't been as good. But I think it's more about the Lions just being real legit. Obviously, for fantasy purposes, everyone's talking about Montgomery and Gibbs. Me personally, I'm still big on Gibbs. I still think it's a perfect buy low opportunity for Gibbs. Especially with, we see it all the times with these rookie backs who aren't Bijan, like these backs who are kind of like the not the favorite to be the starter right away. The teams take time to get them up to speed. They don't want to give them the ball all the time. So as good as Montgomery has been, he's got a history of being dinged up. He's has good stretches before in Chicago, but he's never been able to do it for a long season. So I'm still buying low on Gibbs. I think it's a great opportunity to try to get him at a lower value because, again, I think his value comes in the second half of the season.
I just want to know what beef Dan Campbell and Gibbs have. Like, I want to know, like,
he's probably got Montgomery on his fantasy.
He just said he's in love with Montgomery. And I was talking mad shit about Montgomery last week, but he really proved me wrong. But at the same time, like, Gibbs is like a dynamic player. You got to give him the ball more, I feel like. But they are 3-1, so what do I know?
Listen, I tried to tell PMC at the beginning of the season the Lions like to run that ball at the goal line, and that Montgomery is going to get those touches, man. Y'all said don't bank on Montgomery to score. That's not how you win in fantasy. 34 points. And you sit on my bench because I listen to PMC. Don't listen to PMC, y'all. Don't ever listen to him. But no, as far as the question itself, are the Lions for real? And can Goff lead a deep playoff run? I mean, they look good. They have wins against the Chiefs on the road. I know Chris Jones was out. I know Kelsey was out. That's still an impressive win. Packers on the road, Atlanta. They have a great dynamic duo. We talked about Montgomery. We talked about Gibbs. I agree with Lee. I think Gibbs is going to be great for them in the second half. I think even coming off just in the next couple of weeks, I think they'll pick up the usage rate for him. They'll probably start even giving him some goal line touches, maybe a screen every now and then or so. But yeah, they're getting Jamison Williams back. It's I like what I see from Laporta. Can they truly compete with the Niners and Eagles just yet? I'm not sure. Dan Campbell can, coach and motivate. I just don't outright trust Jared Goff just yet for me to really be on the Lions bandwagon right now. I like what I see. I don't know.
I think a part of it too is who else is in that division. You kind of touched on it with like the Eagles and the 49ers. Obviously, I think they're in a class of their own. But everyone else, like I'll take Jared Goff over every other quarterback. I'll take Jared Goff over Kirk Cousins. I'll take I'll take Goff over who else is out there? I don't even know. But
Fields and Love are the ones in the
Fields,
division.
Love, yeah. It's like in that division, Goff is the only one you really trust. So
they have a really complete team. Like the defensive line, the offense, they got some good players on both sides. I'm surprised. Like I should have seen that coming. I feel like because they're playing well.
They might have the second best O-line in the NFC. Obviously, the 49ers and the Eagles are right there, but I think the Lions O-line is literally not right below them. So that's a big plus too on Montgomery. That's a big reason why he's been killing it too.
So it's like the Lions, they're the favorite to win the division.
I would
they
say,
have to be, yeah.
Yeah, they got that big win over the Packers on the road. So, I don't envision them losing to the Bears. I mean, it's a division game, but overall they got one of the bigger wins that they needed to win the division already. And the Vikings, they might be in free-for-all sell mode if they continue to lose at the pace that they're losing. So I think it's the division. It's already their division to lose at this point, unless the Packers really switch it up. Because you never know. The Packers are the Packers, right? So I know they don't have Aaron Rodgers, but if Love is going to continue that trend of being the superstar, great quarterback that they tend to bring in there, then maybe. But right now, I think it's the Lions to lose for sure.
What do you think it says about like Jordan Love? Like, is it normal growing pains for like the first year starter, or is he like, I don't know? Do they gotta kind of look for other options after a while?
I think it's just normal growing pains right now. He's a bit confusing to me. He's like a tale of two halves kind of quarterback right now. Great in the first half versus the Falcons, and then abysmal in the second half. Trash in the first half versus the Lions and Saints, but been pretty good, in the second half of those games against some pretty good defenses. So, he's getting Jones and Watson back. Hopefully that can make things a little more comfortable for him. He looked great in that first game. I do like what I see from that rookie tight end that they have. I forget his name, but
Musgrave.
Musgrave, yeah. So I mean, it's the Packers. I think they're looked at as a feel good story right now, where it's like, okay, there's no pressure on Love to really be great, to really even replace Rodgers like Rodgers had with Favre. So this season is just going to be a feeling out process for them, and I like what I've seen. I don't like some of those throws though, so I will acknowledge that some of the throws I've seen from Love have just been really, really bad. He has this weird gangly tripping over himself and falling kind of thing going on too. He's like a little baby deer a little bit sometimes. Little baby deer, man. Just got to get those legs right.
He definitely has had like flashes of like really good quarterback play, and then also the total opposite of the spectrum, just like what was he thinking type throws. So it's tough. I thought he would look a little bit better just because he was been sitting on the bench for a couple of years, and usually that helps quarterbacks. But I think I wouldn't quit on him just yet. I think he has the right tools and the good weapons around him to still be a good quarterback and win some games for them, I think.
Yeah, so I laugh at this question because he's only played 4 games. And I know NFL is like a week-to-week thing. We love to overreact. But yeah, he's only played 4 games. 2 of those games he was great. 2 of those games he was not so great. So the only thing you can really ask when a young quarterback is starting their career is obviously they're not going to come out the gate being Pat Mahomes, but you just want to show flashes. And I think he's shown more than a couple of flashes. So I think the potential is there. Obviously, he's going to have growing pains. And again, it's only been 4 games. I'm sure if you compare his first 4 games to a lot of other quarterbacks, it'd probably be a lot better than you would think. I know those first 2 games, he had 3 touchdowns each, so no interceptions. On the year, I think he's up to like 8 touchdowns and like 3 picks or something like that. So like overall, his numbers are fine. It's only been 4 games, and he's shown flashes that he can do it. And like you guys said, the Packers have some weapons around him. They're all pretty young. If they can all grow together, I think they'll be all right in a year or 2. But yeah, I don't think they'll be a playoff team this year, but he's definitely shown flashes that you can stick with him at least for the next year or so.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, we'll see what happens in that division. I don't know. I mean, but speaking of quarterbacks, I mean, let's move on to our next segment. Zach Wilson, it's going to be the theme of the season for the Jets, I think. But is it time to move on from Zach Wilson?
I'll let you go first, Lee.
Yeah, Lee, set it up.
All right,
you,
so
baby. All you, baby.
the time to move on from Zach Wilson was in the offseason.
Jeez.
I'm not gonna. I think enough has been said about the Jets and Zach Wilson. I think we all have pretty much general consensus that he needs to get out of there. As far as like his career, I don't think his career is done. I think he could still be a serviceable backup somewhere. He still has the physical tools. He's got the arm. He's got the legs. He's just not all there when it comes to like reading defenses and making decision making. He always looks like he's playing scared. So I think he could be a solid backup somewhere, but his starting time is definitely done. As far as like potential replacements, we did mention Kirk Cousins earlier. I don't know how realistic that is. Even if the Vikings, if they lose this week, they'll be 0-4, I think, and then they get Kansas City next week, so they could easily be 0-5, and I could see them selling Kirk Cousins then. But at that same time, I can easily see the Jets being like 1-4, 1-5 too. So like, does it really make sense for them to give up draft capital for a 1 year worth of Cousins to try to go on a run when they're already so far behind the 8 ball? I just don't think it's worth it. I hate to say it, but I think they're better off just like kind of folding their cards and just trying to see what they can get right for next year. As far as like trying to still develop some of these young guys, they're still a very young team, but they're already behind the Bills, and that AFC is so stacked. I don't know if it's worth chasing Kirk Cousins. I think they're better off just like kind of see what Simeon can do. At least Simeon was playing this offseason. He was on someone's practice squad or something. So it's not like he was like Colin Kaepernick out of the league for years. He's at least played and he's had success. So yeah, it's not a good outlook for the Jets and Zach Wilson, but hopefully they can get rid of Wilson after this year.
I feel like it should have been like a redshirt season for him this year. They should have probably got over the offseason maybe a seasoned vet like for a backup for Rodgers, because to put all your eggs in one basket, I know it's like an MVP Hall of Famer, but he's 39, 40, one injury away from Zach Wilson starting like this year. And I don't know. I think maybe with one more season under Rodgers, learning the new offense with Hackett, and I mean, they have the weapons on offense. They got Breece Hall, they got Gary Wilson. I just think I feel so bad because he's probably trying his best, and he's just getting shit on like by his own teammates. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a good locker room.
Yeah,
Derek, bro. What are you doing, bro?
They're like in tweets about like, yo, what happened to Zach Wilson, Breece Hall's
own man, bro.
Like, what's going on, man? I feel so bad, man. I feel so bad for him, man.
It is different than like Jamarcus Russell, because Jamarcus Russell didn't give a fuck. Yeah. At least least Zach Wilson is trying. Yeah. He's trying. Yeah. Zach Wilson's trying. But.
Yo, miss me with all that boo-hooing for Zach Wilson, bro. Play better. That's it. Like, what are we talking about? You're the number 2 overall pick. Learn the offense. Play better on the field, bro. They got weapons. They got stuff there for him. He can't play. I think, Joe Namath made headlines this week for saying, he's seen enough. I've seen enough too. Like Zach is simply not capable of playing at this level, which sucks. I don't feel bad for him though. Like, I don't know what that's about. I don't feel bad, bro. I'm not feeling bad for him. He's a grown man. He's not good at football. It is what it is. Jets are in a tough spot though. They're not bad enough to truly tank, but their offense is abysmal right now with him. I don't think it's going to be much better with Trevor Siemian, but by all means, start him. I think Saleh might risk losing the locker room if he keeps trotting Zach Wilson out there, and this is what he's, producing for them. Maybe he has a good week this week or whatever, and there's a change, but I don't see it happening. As far as potential replacements, we brought up Kirk. I think Russ, if the Broncos continue to lose, could be somebody. Stafford, we brought up earlier. And honestly, Derek, you're not going to like this one. The Giants continue to lose, man. Look right in the same stadium. Go after Daniel Jones.
Oh, that's crazy.
Listen, man.
That's nuts.
First, Daniel Jones will never happen because there's too much guaranteed money. They just signed him, so they would be eating way too much to get rid of him, especially now in this first year of his contract. And second of all, fuck Daniel Jones. I'm off the Daniel Jones train. He burned me the first couple of weeks. I drafted him to be my starter. I'm done with him. Fuck him. He's on my bucket list. Yeah, he's on my bucket list. Yeah.
Oh man, listen. I like DJ. Y'all know that, but I saw Caleb Williams this weekend.
Yo, what the Jets need to do? The Jets need to play Zach Wilson the rest of the year, and then just get Caleb Williams. Just get Caleb. Get Caleb Williams. That's all we need.
I mean, they had the Colin Kaepernick letter to the Jets. I don't know about y'all, but I tuned all that stuff out. It's been like 7 years, bro. You're not playing football in the NFL.
He wasn't great when he left.
Yeah, and he took the deal.
He got replaced by Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah,
and he took the deal.
Yeah,
like he took the deal, bro. It's over.
Yeah, you can't take the deal.
So
and come back.
It's over.
Yeah. Like speaking of Kaepernick, like I think it was a clear, just like, hey, don't forget about me, guys. I'm still here. That's what that letter was. You know, it's like
J. Cole sent it out for him. Like,
it's like, why is J. Cole? Yeah,
what are you doing, man? It's over.
J. Cole leaks it.
And they asked Matt Ryan to come back, and he was like, "Nah, you just do that."
Lee, are you okay, bro? Just I gotta check in on you every now and then, bro.
Hey, I've been a Jet fan since like before Neil O'Donnell and like Vinny Testaverde. So like I'm used to this.
Said Neil O'Donnell.
Yeah, I'm probably dating myself. I'm dating myself, but I've been around. I've seen it all before. I'm not surprised. The same exact thing happened like in I think it was '99 with Vinny Testaverde tore his Achilles week 1. The Jets were favored to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, man,
it happens before, man. I'm not surprised.
You had those Super Bowl aspirations just a month ago. You feel me?
I still have them. They're just pushed out a year. That's all it is.
I don't know about all that.
Yeah, they're definitely in a tough spot. I mean, especially you already committed to Rodgers for a few years, so you got to kind of let him come back. So it's like, it's tough. You can't go all out and get a young guy. So I feel for the Jets for sure. But
I don't think anybody's trying to trade for a backup right now. Like trade their backup QB right now. I don't think anybody wants to do that.
I'll say this. Yeah. I feel for the Jets. That whole feeling bad for Zach Wilson is crazy. Don't do that.
Bro, he just looks like a little kid. Maybe that's why. Like, he just looks like a. I just want to be like, yo, it's okay.
Yeah, a lost. I just
want to be like, yo.
He's a grown man, bro.
But I mean, sticking on a quarterback, let's move on to that last segment. Caleb Wilson. They played well. I mean, they beat Colorado this week. He looked great again. But it's just like, who's the front runner for Caleb Williams? I mean, I know there's a lot of teams that kind of need a quarterback, but who do you think is ultimately going to try to get him?
I think somebody's going to trade up for him, bro. Honestly, unless the Bears really just lose out and they're just in a position to draft him. And he's already talked about not coming out if the right team isn't there. I think it's going to be a situation where somebody trades up for him. As far as who that team is, the Jets would have been perfect, but considering, the fact that Rodgers is on the team and he's going to be there for, the foreseeable future, as well as the fact that they traded stuff, that's probably not going to work. The Saints, I think, might be a possible option. I don't think, I don't think the Derek Carr experiment's going to go too well. It's already hitting some rocky road here. They're a team that I feel like is prime position to start competing in a relatively weak NFC South. If they could just go after that quarterback, you could really see some things there. But, the Broncos are a team. Obviously, Sean Payton's going to look to move away from Russell Wilson. If he's capable of getting Caleb Williams, he's going to go all in for that. But overall, other potential contenders, the Vikings, I don't know. It's just, I think the way the NFL is now and how good he looks, processing, throwing, moving outside the pocket and stuff, it's going to be more than just, this is the teams at the top. So you might get into a situation where one of these teams that have a quarterback already is there at the top and they end up trading back. Or if it's the Bears or the Broncos, I'm going all in. It doesn't matter what you call me with. So
I guess it just depends, I think, because like you said before, like his dad was like, yo, if there's a piece of shit team up there, he's not coming out like at the top of the draft. So, but I think the Vikings would be a good team. Kirk Cousins is gone after this year. They got Jettas. They have, I mean, if they keep the head coach, I don't know, he might lose his job, but he's an offensive-minded guy. So I think that would be a fun team to see him go to. They probably would compete right away, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Vikings would be the perfect match, and I think they're probably of all the bad teams, like the 0-win teams, the 1-win teams. I think they're the most in position to say 100% we're going to drop Caleb Williams. So you got Denver's 0-3, but they got so much committed to Russell Wilson already. Chicago's interesting because you don't know about Justin Fields because they passed on Bryce Young last year to stick with Fields, but so far it's not looking good. But we'll see what happens there. Carolina, I just mentioned, they just drafted Bryce Young, so I don't see them going Caleb Williams. So I really think it's in Minnesota. They're 0-4. They could be 0-4 if they lose this week to Carolina. They get Kansas City next week. They'll be 0-5. At that point, I think even if they don't trade Kirk, I think they're going to bench Kirk because they do have their rookie out of BYU. I think his name is Jaron Hall. I think it was like a late round pick the past year. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're 0-5. They throw him in there just to see what they got. And to unofficially start their tank with Jaron Hall, and I don't think Jaron Hall's going to light the world on fire. So I think it's just going to set them up perfectly to draft Caleb Williams. Combine him with Jefferson. You can't pass that up. So yeah, I'm going with the Vikings.
I like the idea of that, but flipping Kirk to then flip whatever you got for Kirk to get Caleb Williams is a lot.
Yeah, but you're not going to get anything for Kirk because he's on an expiring deal. So there's only like maybe one or two teams in the entire league who would want to go after him. So his price isn't going to be. It'll probably be like a 5th round pick or something.
I mean, people fleece the Jets all the time. Lee.
Outside the Jets, though, where does he go? Like, where does Kirk
exactly?
Go?
Who's going to give up? Yeah, unless like someone gets a starting quarterback who gets hurt or something. The market, I don't think the market is really there. The Jets are the only team, but again, they could be 1-4, 1-5 by that time. Why are they going to make a move?
Yeah. You got to come in and learn the playbook. It'll take too long.
I just want to say, I don't care how much money is tied up into Russell Wilson. If you can get Caleb Williams, you get Caleb Williams, and you deal with the Russell Wilson situation after.
He's looked way better this year though with Sean Payton.
I don't care.
What about that? What do you think the Patriots would try to get Kirk?
Oh, that would be a great.
Like if they give up on Mac Jones and just, I think I could see Belichick doing that.
I could 100% see that because Mac Jones is trash too. So.
Oh man, that would end all the age-old like Brady Belichick stuff. If Belichick could get Kirk to win a chip, that would be it. It would be over.
It's true.
He wouldn't though. Even Belichick can't get Kirk a chip, bro.
You hate this guy, man.
I don't hate him,
Kirk, bro.
I don't hate him. He's just mid, bro.
Yo, the numbers don't lie, though. Numbers don't lie.
Numbers lie.
He's top 10 every year. He's top 10 every year.
Okay.
Sebastian's stressed out, man. This Kirk talk that gets to him.
If fantasy football didn't exist, yeah, I would be like, he's a bum. I just want y'all to know that.
Nah, I don't think.
Nah, he's not a bum.
He's not a bum. He's just good.
Once again, man, you're the only guy here who hasn't watched the quarterback.
Yeah, you gotta watch the Netflix.
I saw the quarterback throw back-to-back picks to lose games this season already, bro.
Man.
Stop.
All right, man. But with that, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to our next segment, which is sit or start. So the first person I think we got is Justin Fields. So I'm gonna start with you, Derek. Justin Fields, sit or start?
Well, on my fantasy team, he's riding the bench until he could show me something. Man. This guy, I had to pick up Jordan Love. That's how desperate I was. I understand. Like that's just a weird team. Like they have nothing, not even one thing going well. Like the defensive coach is getting arrested, FBI. The head coach is so clueless. They haven't had a good, I feel, quarterback since like I don't even know who, Sean McMahon. I don't know, like, or maybe Rex Grossman. That was probably the last one, but I don't know, man. It's just
good.
It's just
hey, Cutler. No, that's the Broncos.
Cutler was
they had Cutler.
He was there. I don't know, man. It's just
Ah.
if a lot of people are saying he might go off this week, but I think you just have to wait and see because the Broncos defense is so bad. But I don't know. I don't think you can. I don't think you can start Fields at all.
Yeah, I think you got to bench him. I think I've seen the argument to start him this week is because Denver is so bad. They've allowed the highest yards per attempt. They've allowed the most passing touchdowns. We get it; they're terrible, but at the same time, so are the Bears. The problem with Justin Fields is they're still, for some reason, they're not using him like they need to be. We talked last week about the design runs. He's only got 3 design runs all year, which is crazy to me. All his running is all scrambling. They're not using him in design runs with RPOs, options, things like that. Doesn't make any sense to me because we saw last year he had 1,000 yards rushing. It's his most dangerous part of his game. So until they showed a willingness to go back to that kind of offense where they're going to use his legs, I think you have to bench him because if they're asking him to just be a traditional quarterback, he's shown he can't do that. So until they show they're actually going to run him, I'm benching him the rest of the year.
I guess I'm in the minority here. I'm starting Justin Fields this week, and yes, it's because the Denver Broncos defense is dog water. They're trash. They give it all up, every bit of it. They give everything up. And if there was ever a game for Justin Fields to get right, it's at home versus Denver. Use those legs, man. Run. We talked about the design runs. If we can see it, the Bears should be able to see it, right? So at some point, they're going to get him out in space. They're going to get him to run the ball. I don't know why it's taken this long, but it's going to happen. Their seasons on the line. Their jobs are on the line at this point. So I think this is the week Justin Fields will, I don't want to say earn where he was probably drafted this year, but I think he'll be a pleasant surprise for many.
I think NFL coaches and teams are very stubborn. You said that we can see it. Why can't they see it? I've said that about Zach Wilson for 2 years. So sometimes the coaches are just committed. They want to prove that they can do it their way versus like adjusting. So again, until they actually show me, they got to show me that they're actually going to change their offense before I just like blindly say they're going to do it this week.
Start Fields, yeah. Start him.
Yeah, I'm gonna say start him. I'm gonna say start him too this week, just because like it's the battle of like the worst teams in the NFL. Like someone's got to play well, so it's like I think Justin Fields just like he'll play well. I mean, he's not gonna be able to throw with like they're gonna get shut down by Surtain like on whoever they want to put him on, like whether it's Judy or Sutton. So he's not gonna be able to throw. He's not gonna get any better. He's gonna have to run. Same thing with Wilson. Like he hasn't looked good. So I don't know. I think Justin Fields. I think you got to start him this week. If he doesn't play well this week, he might have to get.
Yes.
Like
it's over.
It's like you don't play this week. It's
like straight to the waiver. Yeah.
It's over.
I don't know about the waivers. I still stash them, but
it's done.
It's done. Bro.
Are you taking rest of the year? Are you taking Jordan Love or Justin Fields?
Jordan Love.
Rest of the year? Oh,
yeah.
Jordan Love.
Yeah.
He's got more weapons and a
He's
minded coach.
Yeah.
And he runs too. He's been running for touchdowns. So
yeah.
Even in bad games, Jordan Love's getting you 18 points and stuff.
That's the thing.
Like
in bad games,
you
rack up like those garbage yards.
Yeah.
Like Justin Fields is throwing picks.
Like on Thursday, that's what he did. Thursday night.
He still gets you some points, man. I just
I don't know. I feel like Fields' upside is still crazy high just because he's so good running. Like
then start him, Lee.
I can't because they're not using him.
He brought the chair out.
The talent is there.
Like, I don't know if I'm stashing.
They're not using him.
What?
That's why I'm stashing him. I don't mind stashing him for the rest of the year because his upside is still there. But I don't know.
Okay. So moving on. We got 2. We got Raheem Mostert and we got Devin Achane. I can never say his name right.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Achan or Achane. I saw there was a lot of debate online about this. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going by Madden, man. Madden says.
I don't know.
I'm gonna start with you, Sebastian. Like sit or start. You sitting or starting both, or are you sitting one over the other?
I'm starting both, and before I even get into all that, I just want to say I see Toby in the chat on YouTube. This dude, I faced him last week, and he had Raheem Mostert and Keenan Allen. So
Oh,
even though
that's
I dropped 140 points, I got my ass beat. So I'm starting Mostert every second of every game. It doesn't matter. He's starting. It doesn't matter what the matchup is. I'm starting Mostert. A chain or however you say his name is, I'm probably starting him too. Odds are you don't have like an elite third back or flex, so it's worth the risk. The Dolphins' offense just looks crazy. It looks absolutely insane. And I know they're going up against the Bills this week, who have a pretty good defense, and the Dolphins haven't been great versus the Bills. But this is a rookie, and he has never faced the Bills. So that speed, the way that they move guys around pre-snap is just insane. So overall, I'm starting both. If you have Mostert, there's absolutely no question. I don't even know why he was on here. I don't know why anybody would start Mostert right now. But a chain, I'm still starting him. Odds are you have a flex space that you can put him in there for.
yeah.
He's not gonna get 51 or whatever he got last week, but odds are he'll get you something.
Hey man, they said that about Swift, man. It's like the same way.
I think that team is so fast. That offense, you got Tyreek Hill and A Chain. You got a 4.340 in the combine. So I would definitely start him. After last week, they're probably definitely going to put in some more plays for him this week, I would say. But it's also a good thing to think about because the Bills' defense has definitely stepped up since first couple weeks. So, but I would still start him for sure because that speed is just insane. You can't bet against that.
Yeah, I'm a little torn on this one. Mostert, I'm obviously starting. I think he's pretty sure he's RB1 in like every format. A chain, I'm benching. And you guys mentioned Buffalo. Their defense hasn't just been good; they've been like lights out. They haven't given up a rushing touchdown all year. They're the second best defense in total yards, the second best in points against. They only give up 11.7 points per game. So I think it's going to be a really interesting game between the Dolphins offense and the Bills defense. I think it's going to be tough for them to rely on that ground game the way they did last week. I don't think, especially against Buffalo, if someone's going to go off, I don't think it's. I think if someone's going to go off, I think it's Mostert, the starter. I don't think a chain being the backup here. I don't think they're going to be up 40 points where he can get the touches he was getting versus the Broncos. Like that Broncos game was such an outlier because the score was so lopsided. It's hard to really judge those second half numbers because kind of like the Broncos kind of gave up. So again, against the Buffalo defense, it's really tough for me to start a chain. Maybe as like a flex if you don't really have anyone else there. I don't mind throwing him in there as a flex. But if you're starting him as like your RB2, that's kind of scary. But Mostert's I think is matchup proof. He's been RB1 all year, so I'll start him.
Yo, Lee, hold up, yo, hold on.
What's up?
You're not about to hype the Bills defense for how lights out it's been. They played the Jets. They played the Commanders. Like, what are we talking about right now, man?
No,
The Raiders and Josh Jacobs. I don't even know if he what are we talking about, man?
I mean, you could only do with what's in front of you, right? So they played these bad teams. What are they supposed to do versus these bad teams? Completely dominate them, and that's what they did. They are now
playing the absolute best offense in football. We gonna see.
But we were just talking about how bad the Broncos defense was. So you're gonna hype up the Dolphins offense after they did that to the Broncos.
70 points by the 8-minute mark in the fourth is still 70 points by the 8-minute mark in the fourth quarter. It doesn't matter who I was playing if I did all that. But my bad. Go ahead.
But it's also a division game too, and these AFC East games are always like tough, nails biting games. I don't think it's going to be a shootout between these two.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think it's going to be Mostert. Like I'm starting Mostert. I'm benching a chain. I think it's like the same thing that's set up with the Lions, where it's just like we got a Montgomery Gibbs type of situation, where it's like we got the 1A, 1B. I think Mostert's going to get those like goal line carries too. So I think it is going to be a close game, but I think he'll get those goal line carries, maybe scores once or twice. But it's going to be more of like a methodical game. I don't think they're just going to be running all over the field like they did last week or they have been. But I do think a chain gets more touches like going forward, but I just don't think this is the week to start him. But any other game, I might start him.
Yeah, and just speaking on the Dolphins running backs, is going forward, I think Mostert's getting a lot of love, but I think he's like a perfect trying to sell high guy just because we mentioned a chain. He's going to get more touches as the year goes on, but also Jeff Wilson's coming back. And Mostert's, I think, 31, 32. He's always hurt too. So if you have a chance to trade him, I would definitely try to sell high.
Yeah. It's that 49ers backfield all over again.
Yeah, it's the same exact one. Jeff Wilson was there too, I think.
Yeah, same thing. So it's the same.
McDaniels likes having those 4 or 5 running backs.
When is Wilson coming back?
I think it was next week. He's off IR, or is it this week?
Yeah, I think the short term IR is like 4 or 5 weeks, so it's got to be soon.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, they find that chain. I don't know that he's gonna get that much love, but we'll see. He ain't that fast.
4.3 is crazy.
They like that speed
for running back.
Man.
For a running back is nuts.
And then we got Tyreek and Waddle on the outside running 4.3, 4.2 too.
And they move before the snap. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, how am I gonna keep up? They got everybody in motion, and you're blitzing fast anyway. Shout out to McDaniels, man.
Yeah.
But I mean,
fuck the AFC East, bro.
Meanwhile,
just gotta deal with that.
Which one of y'all picked Sauce Gardner for Defensive Player of the Year? Was that you, Lee?
Nah, it wasn't me. It wasn't
me. But speaking of people coming back, Alvin Kamara is next up. So Lee, sit or start Alvin Kamara.
I'm starting him. I think he's an easy flex start. He's like a replacement RB2 this week if you need him, but I think he's a guaranteed flex. His track record speaks for himself. But more than that, we've seen the other backs in New Orleans haven't really done much. Miller in limited carries is like 3.8 yards per carry. Toby Jones 3.3 yards per carry. They've really, really been struggling in the run game. I believe Carr is out, so Winston's going to be starting, and I think they're going to try to call a more conservative play call with Winston just because, Winston likes to chuck it deep. They're going to try to, in my opinion, I think they're going to try to reel him in a little bit to try to limit those risk takes. So I think you're going to see a lot of Kamara screens, a lot of short passing, Kamara in motion, things like that. I really think they're going to lean on Kamara, especially since Winston is starting this game. So, yeah, I'm starting Kamara.
Lee, this just came in on the ESPN Fantasy app that Carr is active. So
shit.
Starting.
Okay.
I don't know if he's starting or not, but he is active.
It says, I just checked, it says had no pain and injured shoulder, so he said he will start.
Yeah, so even if he does start, I think the Saints backfield has pretty much done nothing all year, so I don't mind starting Kamara. I think he's.
Also, I don't know if you saw, but Taysom Hill is also active.
Oh
my God!
Fuck Taysom Hill, bro.
This is what I mean, bro. This is what I mean.
Taysom Hill.
Don't listen to PMC, bro. Don't do it.
I'm about to throw my laptop across the room, man.
I'll say
is that your sleeper? That's your sleeper for later.
He got a lot of love. He got a lot of touches in that game, though. Yeah. I will say that. He didn't do that with him.
Yeah, because Kamara wasn't there.
He got a lot of touches. I'm starting Kamara. I think it's an obvious start, at the minimum in a flex spot. With the amount of injuries that running backs have had so far this year, odds are you've been impacted on your fantasy team, so you need to start Kamara as he's coming back. And it's exciting to have him. I know Carr's playing. I think they'll probably have a decent connection between the two of them. And he's excited to be back. He's putting out, Demon Home Drewski memes on Twitter and on Instagram. Kamara's just a beast. He's been a beast for the last few years in fantasy. I know, running backs tend to start slow when they haven't played for a little bit. So that's the one fear. But overall, like Lee said, the Saints running backs have done nothing. So they're going to try to get him featured. And he's not just a running back. He's utilizable in space. He's utilizable in the pass game. And if Carr is playing, it's a little more reliable. And even if he wasn't, Kamara put up great numbers with Winston there too. So it's not like he doesn't have chemistry with whoever's going to be back there, as well as Taysom Hill. Whatever. I don't know what that's about, bro. Do a quarterback segment on Taysom Hill, bro. Or tight end segment, I guess. But you got to start Kamara. This is the point. This is the reason you stashed him.
Exactly.
So, yeah. It's definitely a tough decision because that offensive line is probably one of the worst in the league. But I think a lot of people forget just how good he is, especially in a PPR league, because he'll get you those 7-8 catches, probably touchdowns. So I would definitely start him, especially with the running back. Like, if you need running back help like I do on my team, definitely start him.
Yeah, bro, he gonna get them screens.
Yeah, yeah,
He gonna get you 6 points just on screens,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I definitely think you gotta start him. It's like a no brainer. I think the Saints offense is like kind of been sputtering a little bit too. Like they've been trying to get it to the wide receivers, but they're missing that like their running game or they're missing that like short passing game. So I think even if he doesn't do a lot on the ground, I think he'll have a lot of short passes, kind of like the Patriots did, where they have a whole bunch of short passes to kind of stimulate the run. So I could see the Saints kind of emulating that too. Okay.
Yeah, and again, like you said, you if you have him on your team, you were stashing him, so
yeah.
you got to play
Let
him.
him let
you
him
know?
let him loose.
Yeah,
Yep.
this is
Yep.
why you got him.
Cool. All right. Moving on, we got C.J. Stroud. So Lee, I'm gonna start with you. Sit or start, C.J. Stroud.
So quarterbacks are a little tricky in sit and start because it depends, obviously, if it's a 1 QB league or a 2 QB league. I think in a 1 QB league, I'm sitting him. There's just way better options. QBs are way too deep at the top 12 level. 2 QB leagues, I don't mind starting him. I'm definitely starting him in a 2 QB league. He's been really hot the past 2 games. He's really the only rookie so far that's really impressed. The only real thing with him is he doesn't really get a lot of rushing yards. So that's kind of why he's limited to like a 2 QB league. But he's shown chemistry with what's his name, Tank Dell, Nico Collins. He's got talent around him. So yeah, I'm starting him.
I would also start him depending on what your quarterback situation is. Like if you have a Justin Fields, like we said before, if you're looking on the waiver wire to stream one for 1 week or just to look for some help on the quarterback market. I mean, 384 yards for a rookie is insane. They're definitely going to be throwing it because they're probably going to be down. And Nico Collins has been a really good target for him this year, and Tank Dell, like Lee said, and so I would definitely start him for sure. If you need that, if your quarterback spot is a little weak, I would definitely start him.
Yeah, I'd say he's definitely situational, right? Bye weeks haven't really started yet. Odds are you have a better and more reliable option at quarterback than a rookie going against a Mike Tomlin defense. I like what I've seen from CJ. Y'all brought up the connection with Collins, the connection with Tank Dell. I think that's going to be a really great one for him going forward. But I'm just always skeptical of playing young rookie quarterbacks versus legendary defensive-minded coaches. Bring the chair out, man. Bring the chair out. I'm sitting CJ Stroud this week. I think it'll probably be a lower scoring affair with a couple of big plays. Hopefully, if you do start him, hopefully he's a part of that and is the reason why those big plays happen. But I think it'll be lower. I think the Steelers' defense is a little underrated by most. I think they're really good on defense. But that's me.
I think the Steelers thing with the Steelers defense is their front seven is really good, but their secondary is kind of lacking. So I have to double check, but I'm pretty sure they're like bottom 10 in passing defense. So you can, if you want to play matchups, you can kind of say, oh, if they're going to beat the Steelers, they're going to have to be throwing it. But yeah, I think Stroud's been really good the past 2 games. I wouldn't mind starting him.
Yeah,
I like that. I like the Justin Fields comparison too. I feel like that's a good barometer. It's like we just start him over Justin Fields. It's like
yeah.
The answer is yes for most quarterbacks, right?
Yeah,
But
that's true.
I'm gonna start him. I'm gonna start him this week. I think he's played well. I think this is the week that he kind of breaks out and shows everybody that like he's arrived. I do agree Steelers like front seven is like amazing, but I think that's why they're gonna have to throw more. I think coaching wise, like they've been well coached like throughout the year so far. They play hard. They haven't gotten anything on the ground from Pierce this year, so it's like
Yeah,
which is really tough. But
that's been
so
rough.
Like, they're gonna throw, like they're gonna throw the ball. So even if they don't win the game, I think he puts up like impressive stats where he's worthy of a start this week.
That could be another positive thing too, because he's had no running game to help him, and he's still playing really well.
Yeah, I like once they get Pierce going, like that's gonna be a solid offense.
Yeah.
and they've shown they're not afraid to let him just fucking rip it. Like 380 yards, like they're not afraid to say, "Hey, just go do it." So.
hey, man, hopefully y'all right. But TJ Watt coming.
All right, and the last person we got is Adam Thielen. So I'm gonna go back to you, Derek. Adam Thielen, sitting or starting him?
Oh, I think his audio went out.
Uh-oh.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
Adam Thielen, I am benching him this week. I think he's one of those classic like big names, and had a hot game, so you kind of fall back in love with him. But he really hasn't been great since 2018, if you look, which was like 5 years ago. So it's been a long time. He had a really good game. He had a crazy game last week, but I think it's important to remember that it was not with Bryce Young. So Bryce Young is back this week, and last week when he was with Dalton, he had 11 targets. Anytime you get double-digit targets, it's noteworthy. But again, it was with Dalton. The 2 games he's played with Bryce Young, he's averaged 4.5 targets. So it might be a thing where, obviously Andy Dalton's a veteran, Thielen's a veteran. They kind of relied on each other when they played together. But now Bryce Young is back, and he's really struggled. He's been QB 29 in fantasy points per game for quarterbacks. He's not looked good at all. So it's really hard for me to start Thielen this week. I'm not falling for the hype that was last week. I'm benching him this week.
I was up in the air about Thielen. I was even going to do the coin flip. But I'll just go with the opposite of what Lee said. I mean, I know the targets haven't been as high or higher with Dalton, but overall, like, he put up 31 and 20 in my league for the past 2 weeks. He's a reliable goal line threat. He's like one of those shifty, sneaky guys. He's up against the Vikings. The Vikings defense sucks. Like, it's not like they're out here going to have elite defenders on him. I could definitely see that being a high scoring game potentially. I'm gonna start Thielen. I'm not super confident in it, so whatever. But like,
the one thing is like, he's got the revenge game factor. So
yeah,
they might try to force feed him a couple extra.
Yeah, man. Get a couple extra catches. Maybe break one. I don't know. Then we lost Derek, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we lost Derek. Kind of thrown off the show.
He got that Daniel Jones connection.
Oh, man. I wonder what his parlay was going to be.
Yeah, so we lost Derek. But we're going to keep it going. But yeah, I think for this week, I'm going to say Adam Thielen too. I don't think he's going to replicate it. I think he's had a good rapport so far, but I don't know. Right now, I just think it's been early weeks. He's been good. They don't really have anyone else to throw to, but I think eventually they got to start getting those other guys involved. I don't really know who else would be involved, but they got to get someone else.
Who else is on the Panthers? I'm trying to remember.
They got that.
Right
they got the young guy, Mingo, right? Is it Mingo there?
Yeah, Jonathan Mingo. There's one other guy there. I can't remember his name, man.
Oh no, they got isn't DJ Chark there?
Is it Chark?
I think it's DJ.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's Chark. Yeah. He gonna get touches just by requisite, bro. He don't got nobody.
Panthers are ass though. Panthers are just bad in general. Like, I would not want to be starting any Panthers.
Get Thielen the ball, man.
Like, yeah. I don't know.
Start their kicker.
Yeah, I'll play their kicker, yeah.
All right, so let's move to our parlay of the day. I think we got Derek back too. So,
do we? All right, bet.
Oh, the chair.
The chair is back. Yeah, my internet just went out. Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
Internet took a shit. Internet took a shit. Are we doing parlay?
Yeah. Just getting into it.
All right. So for my parlay of the day, I have an 8-legger. You know, I said it last week. Eight is my favorite number. So I do 8-leg parlays. You know, sometimes try to win you guys some money. First off, I have Bills money line versus the Dolphins. I know I was talking a lot of shit about what the Dolphins can do and what they've done so far this week, but I like the Bills in that game. The Dolphins have not been great against the Bills in the past few matchups. I think they're like 7-1 over the past few. I have Stephon Diggs anytime touchdown. I know he didn't cash that for y'all last week, but he's getting a touchdown this week. I can feel it. I thought he was getting one for his brother. Didn't happen. I thought there was a perfect opportunity for when Josh Allen ended up just running it in. So it is what it is. Moving on, I do have DJ Moore for 50 yards. I know we were talking about Justin Fields and how the offense just doesn't look great, but the Broncos defense is trash, man. It just really is. They give up the most yards in the air from any team. I know that's inflated from that Dolphins game a little bit, but they were running too. So overall, the Broncos defense has not looked good at all this year. I do have Texans money line. I know I was talking a little scary about C.J. Stroud versus Mike Tomlin, but I just like the odds there. Plus 140 at home. Their offense looks way better than it has in years past. They just beat up on the Jaguars, that I think is a pretty good team. Maybe I overestimate the Jaguars, but I like what I've seen from CJ. I like what I've seen from that connection with Tank Dell and Nico Collins. So, and the Steelers, I think the Steelers are good. I don't believe in Pickett just yet. I think Pickens is great. And that front seven is great. TJ Watt is amazing. But to y'all point, the secondary is a little lackluster. And I just think the Texans could pull one out versus the Steelers. I have Vikings money line. Like we just talked about, the Panthers suck. They're not great. If Bryce Young is playing, I don't have any confidence that they're going to be able to get anything off with him. Maybe I'm writing them off a little too early, but the Vikings are just too talented to be 0-4, especially if they're playing this kind of a team in a must-win game for them. I do have A.J. Brown for most receiving yards of the game in the Eagles game versus the Commanders at plus 180. I think it's time for A.J. Brown to get going for real. I know PMC likes to hear that, but I think it's time. I think he's going to have a breakout one, like really, really big game at home versus the Commanders. I think the Commanders are good. They're a little outmatched versus the Eagles. Then I have Chiefs to win by 14 plus. Sorry, Lee. You probably figured that out already. At plus 145, I was surprised that the line was only plus 145. I don't see how the Jets are going to be able to score on them. Chris Jones is playing. The Chiefs defense is good. And they have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. So it's just –
And Taylor Swift.
Yeah. So I just don't know how the line was as low as it was. I have the Chiefs winning by 14 plus. And then the last leg, I have the New York Football Giants winning between 1 and 13 versus the Seahawks. Yes, when I put this in, I didn't know that Barkley was probably going to be out. I didn't know that Andrew Thomas was going to be out. So it's not great, but it's plus 155. And y'all know how I get down. I cash out. That's the Monday night game. If I hit everything before that and they give me a cash out, I'll probably take it. But I might not because, Giants can win. Giants can win on Monday night. But that's it for the parlay of the day. Don't tell me I sold.
I'm shaking my head at the cash out, bro. Don't cash out.
I'm a cash out,
bro.
Yeah,
let it ride.
Gotta let it ride.
Come on.
You sound like a quick
listen, if y'all start pulling in or chipping in for these parlays, then maybe I'll start letting it ride. But y'all not. I gotta put my own money up to try to get this off. I bet $8 to win $3,072. So we'll see.
Hold on. If you only bet $8, just let it ride then.
I'm broke, bro. No,
you gonna cash out for $6? You gonna cash out for $6?
Cashing out, bro. They offered me 500. I'm taking it.
500. All right.
They offered me 500. I'm taking it.
Show. I live in a trash can, bro.
I live on a funeral home, man.
That reminds me of that scene from Lottery Ticket. Y'all remember that?
I'm broke. I can't eat.
Yeah, that's funny.
You got the power to change that, PMC. No, I'm playing.
That scene was funny. All right, we're wrapping up right here, so we're gonna go down the line for sleepers for this week. So Derek, who's your deep sleeper for this week?
Well, I don't have him for this week, but you should definitely pick him up. I got Keaton Mitchell from the Ravens. There's a reason why they put him on IR and never cut him. He's an undrafted free agent, and I think this is going to be the league winner. If there's 17%, I think. Let me just double check. 17% owned in Yahoo right now. It went up 16% this week. So if he's there, just go grab him. I was able to steal him real quick. So they've been waiting to use him. I think they're waiting for him to get healthy. And Justice Hill's not it. Gus Edwards not it. Dobbins is done. So get ready for him. It's gonna be a good year for him, I think.
Yeah, I love that one.
Okay, Sebastian, who you got?
I got Darius Slayton out of the New York Giants. Seahawks are the 31st pass defense in terms of yards given up this year with 984 through 3 games. The Giants season is in the balance right now, and Slayton is just in general a relied target of Daniel Jones. With Saquon out and Waller not looking so great, I just think, I expect Slayton to have a pretty good day. Hopefully, I'm wrong and it goes to Hyatt. But in general, Slayton's got speed. The Seahawks just don't cover wide receivers with speed at all. So I think Slayton, he's primed to be good. Probably not owned in most leagues right now, but Slayton.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad at that one. So I got two potential ones. One isn't that deep, so I made another one that was like super deep. But my first one is a Marvin Mims Jr. on the Broncos. I say he's not that deep of a sleeper because he is owned in 40% in Yahoo, and he had about almost 20 points the last 2 weeks. So he's definitely been on a couple of sleeper radars, but I think this week he's definitely going to have a breakout. Going against the Bears, as we all know, are a terrible team, terrible offense, terrible defense, but that defense is going to be even worse this week. They're down, I believe, 3 cornerbacks. Their top 3 cornerbacks are out. And then you got their safety, Eddie Jackson, is out as well. So they're playing a bunch of backups in that secondary. They're going to be able to get beat deep. I think Marvin Mims is going to have at least one deep ball, maybe a touchdown, but I think he's a good sleeper pick this week. But you know, he's been kind of popular the past few weeks. So my super sleeper is the Raiders rookie quarterback, Aiden O'Connell. He's getting the start this week. He was really good in preseason. I know preseason doesn't really mean much, but I'd rather them be good than bad in preseason. He had a 108.4 QB rating in the preseason, so he was doing this thing. But he's also going up against the Chargers defense that's given up the most passing yards per game. They've given up about 337 passing yards per game. They've given up the 3rd most passing touchdowns allowed with 7. And Derwin James and Bosa are both doubtful for the game. So there's going to be opportunity there for O'Connell. If you need like a second QB replacement, or maybe you don't want to play Fields, I'm definitely going. I like Aiden O'Connell out of Purdue.
That's a deep cut, bro. You wild.
Hey, it's a sleeper, bro. That's a sleeper.
Yeah, I was checking for the quarterback. I was checking to make that bet last night because if Hoyer was going to start, I was going to take the Chargers, but because he was like 0-12 in his last 12 starts, something like that. But O'Connell killed it. O'Connell was killing it in the preseason.
For a parlay, maybe as a start, bro.
It's a sleeper pick. Yeah, it's a sleeper pick.
Sleeper pick.
It's not me picking T. Higgins getting drafted by every team in the league.
Listen, you can say all you want. Bro.
Nah, for my sleeper, I'm gonna go with Tajay Spears for the Titans. I think it's time. You could see like each week they're using him a lot more. I think Derrick Henry, like he out-touched Derrick Henry last week, I think, which usually never happens. So I think it's only a matter of time. I think they moved Derrick Henry. I think they're trying to get Tajay Spears like in the flow. I don't know if he'll be an every down back, but I think this week and just going forward, like he's just gonna grow and grow as with his usage. So I'm going Tajay Spears. I also want to throw some love. I'm gonna throw it out there. Nobody's gonna like it, but I'm gonna go with Zach Wilson.
Oh my God,
Zach Wilson.
Oh no!
Hear me out. Hear me out. Zach Wilson. They're not. I think it's gonna be a closer game than people think. Just because of the Jets' defense, I think defense will keep them in the game. And Zach Wilson always gives you that little bit of hope that makes you hold on. He'll give you one game. He'll give you one game that gives you hope. And then
like what hope?
He'll give you one drive. He'll give you one drive a game. That's it.
I think this week he just lets it rip, and like he's gonna have a solid game. So I'm going Zach Wilson.
Can they please let him throw on first down for one time, like one time in his life? Just let him throw on first down.
Yeah.
Why do they don't really set him up to succeed at all?
They don't put no one in motion, no extra protection. They run the most basic ass fucking play calling.
He can't figure nothing out. When you gonna put stuff in motion? He can't do anything, man. He can't play.
Listen, he's gonna get it done on the ground. He's gonna run. He's gonna get it done on the ground.
More complicated for him. He can't read defenses, man.
Listen, he just gotta throw it up. Garrett Wilson there.
All he's got to do is they just got to use Garrett Wilson like Deebo Samuel and just give him fucking screen after screen after screen.
Chris Jones can't even do that ass anyway, bro. The line is trash too. Like it doesn't matter, bro. How you really pick Zach Wilson right now?
Yeah, you really think? Yeah, I don't know.
For sleeper, this is like this.
I'd rather start that rookie quarterback from the Raiders that I said O'Connell over Zach Wilson.
Shout out to me and Derek.
All
with
right,
decent
man.
sleepers, bro. Y'all wildin'.
All right, man. All right, man. Y'all gonna see. Y'all gonna see.
Remember this for next week. We'll see what happens.
I'm usually a week early.
We gotta start keeping
So
receipts. We gotta keep receipts.
usually
Yeah.
a week early. But all right, that's our show. If you're watching, make sure you tell a friend. Like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
Go Big Blue.
Y'all.